Well, there's just 15 days until the referendum, and if the polls are to be believed, the government's proposed voice to Parliament looks set to be rejected. Now, if the no vote is successful, it'll be in no small part thanks to Country Liberal Party Senator Jacinta Price, and there are already calls for her to be the next opposition leader. Joining me to discuss that and all the week's top stories is the Menzies Institute's Nick Cader. So, Nick, thanks for joining me. What do you think? Jacinta Price as a future Prime Minister, good call or bad call?
It's a nice dream, isn't it? I mean, can you imagine that wonderful meeting when she gets together with the new Premier of Queensland, Amanda Stoker, and the new Premier of Victoria, Peter Credlin? I mean, wouldn't that be a wonderful,
That's
wonderful
a dream
meeting?
ticket right there.
But look, I mean, I know it's nice to think about, but look, it's far too early to talk about.
Well, it is early, but she's defied expectations. I mean, in less than a year, she was promoted to shadow cabinet.
Yeah.
So she's certainly been rising at a rapid trajectory. Why not continue that rise?
And she's lived up to the opportunity, and she's behaved. You know, she's been terrific. She's a great communicator. That's what I like about her. And she can talk the language of ordinary people. She can talk pub.
Yes.
Which I think Peter Dutton is a lot better than a lot of people give him credit for in that regard. But we need a Prime Minister who not only is full of strong ideas and strong values, but can talk.
Well, the other thing I like, and I agree with you, she's a great communicator, but she also knows what she believes, and she's not afraid to come out and say it come hell or high water. The other thing is she's got rock star appeal. Now, I know, the Liberal Party don't really go for charisma, especially since they've put Peter Dutton in the leadership. But, people want to hear her speak. I was reading in the Sydney Morning Herald, they reported that when Jacinta Price went to Toowoomba, they sold out 1,250 seats like that to hear her speak. These are paid seats, and they reckon they could have sold 3,000. And then if you look at her press club address, it's been viewed more than 130,000 times in just a couple of weeks, compared with, say, Linda Burney's press club address. Now, she's the Indigenous Affairs Minister. Her speech has been viewed 10,500 times.
You're right about the rockstar quality. I had an experience quite recently of going from our office down on the 13th floor down the lift with Jacinta.
Right.
And a perfect stranger got in on the 9th floor and got up and said, "Jacinta," and gave her an enormous hug. And she gave him one of the no packages. But I've never seen that before. Right. The only comparable politician, I think, for rockstar appeal is Pauline Hanson.
So, well, tell me this, because obviously I think Jacinta Price is probably the best-known politician in the country right now, because we're in the middle of this Indigenous voice referendum. Do you think she can transcend Indigenous politics to go on to mainstream issues, if you like, and really broaden her appeal as a potential leader down the track?
Oh, yeah, because she's smart. She's very intelligent. She's across a lot more than you'd be aware of, because she's talking mainly on Indigenous affairs. But look, for a Prime Minister needs a long training period, I think, because you've seen many cases of people coming in without that experience and just flopping in the job.
I want to talk to you about ice cream for a second as a change of pace. American ice cream franchise Ben & Jerry's, they've decided to throw their weight behind the referendum and announced today they will support the Yes campaign. Now, that was a surprise because just last week they told a franchisee in Cairns who wanted to promote the Yes campaign that he was not allowed to do so. He was surprised by that because, of course, Ben & Jerry's are well known to promote, leftist progressive causes, everything from Palestine to LGBTQ rights and so on and so forth.
It shows they're a bit mixed up, right? Ben & Jerry are somewhat confused if they think that Palestinian rights and LGBT rights go together.
Indeed. Well, today they released a statement saying Ben & Jerry's wholeheartedly stand by the Uluru Statement from the heart, and it's called...
All 500 pages?
I'm not sure whether they've read the whole thing, like Anthony Albanese, but they've called not just for voice, but treaty and truth. So they've gone, I think in ice cream terms, the full triple scoop.
Well, I might buy a small tub on the way home just so that I can say I'm boycotting it, because I haven't actually bought it for a long time because of their woke values. I don't know if you've tried the new Bud Light flavour, have you? The new Bud Light for Ben & Jerry ice cream.
You're kidding me, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were. What do you think of an American company getting involved with the Voice campaign?
Look, it's problematic, isn't it? And even worse, I think, is when people on Facebook, from Silicon Valley decide that they're going to interfere in our debate by cancelling people. You know, I just think that's not on, but it's part of modern politics, unfortunately.
Let's talk about Qantas for a second. Former Qantas CEO, Alan, I saw your eyes light up. You want to talk about this. Former Qantas CEO Alan Joyce has been threatened with jail time, Nick, if he fails to appear in front of a Senate aviation inquiry. Now, Alan Joyce has been overseas since resigning from the top job at Qantas, but Senator Bridget McKenzie says a summons to appear will be served on Joyce the moment he returns to the country. So is that a bit extreme, or is this called for?
I don't think so. Bridget McKenzie's doing a magnificent job chairing that inquiry.
She has.
All of us so much. I don't know what we want to see more, Alan Joyce in jail or Alan Joyce before that committee, probably before the committee. But I think in all fairness, she should warn him that there is no chairman's lounge in Long Bay Jail. And the food is, I gather, it's slightly better than economy class in Qantas.
Well, I wondered if he struggled to get before the inquiry because he's actually booked a Qantas ticket to get home and he's just been delayed, Nick.
The conditions in jail, by the way, I think is... Imagine seat D38 on a Jetstar flight. And it's worse than that, Alan. It is worse than that in prison.
This inquiry is very important. Of course, there's a few issues, but the main issue they're talking about is the government's decision to block extra flights from Qatar, which of course has meant greater cost to the flying public as a result. Talk to me about what you thought with, Catherine King, the minister. She's made all sorts of excuses as to why she can't appear. In fact, I think she's on holidays at the moment while this inquiry is being held. Alan Joyce is overseas, but also said he couldn't appear via video link. Are they ducking and weaving, or are these legitimate excuses?
I can see why he doesn't want to appear. It's going to be very uncomfortable, but I think it's clearly in the national interest that he does. He knows a lot about this. It was a decision which does affect the national interest, and it affects everyday travellers, and it was a very bad decision, and we need to get to the bottom of it. And if we can't get that from the Prime Minister and the Transport Minister, then we need to hear from Alan Joyce.
Well, the fact is that it's the Transport Minister and Alan Joyce, and of course Mr Albanese, who are the only ones who really can give this inquiry the answers they need, because it goes to the heart of the question, just how cosy was that relationship? Or I like Bridget McKenzie, she called it a bromance. A bromance. Which I thought was a great line between Anthony Albanese and Alan Joyce. But really, I mean, they're the two people who can really answer the questions that nobody else can.
Yeah, I mean, Albanese initially said that he wasn't part of the decision, which I find extraordinary. Considering how important diplomatically, apart from anything, this is.
Let's go from Qantas to the American Republican presidential nominee debate. Former President Donald Trump skipped the second debate this week, but his absence did not go unnoticed. Have a look at this, Nick, from the debate.
And Donald Trump should be here to answer for that, but he's not. And I want to look at that camera right now and tell you, Donald, I know you're watching. You can't help yourself. I know you're watching, okay? And you're not here tonight, not because of polls and not because of your indictments. You're not here tonight because you're afraid of being on the stage and defending your record. You're ducking these things. And let me tell you what's going to happen. You keep doing that, no one up here is going to call you Donald Trump anymore. We're going to call you Donald Duck.
All right.
So while the contenders were making lame jokes, Donald Trump was in Michigan speaking to actual voters.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you don't expect him to turn up for these debates for the same reason you never expected Laurence Olivier to turn up to commission for the part of Macbeth. He just didn't have to do it. He doesn't have to do auditions. That's Trump. I think we all know where he is and what he stands for. And I think if he doesn't turn up to any of those debates, it won't make any difference to the outcome.
You know what I thought was the challenges in that debate? I mean, DeSantis talked about Trump not being there as well. I thought they should have not talked about Trump at all, because the more they talk about him, the more they draw everybody's attention to the fact that not only is he not there, he's so far above all the contenders, he doesn't need to be there. Exactly. I think they should just shut up about Trump until one of them is selected to actually run against him.
Every advertising person will tell you that. And we used to have a rule when I was deputy editor at the Sunday Telegraph many moons ago that we weren't allowed to mention the Sun Herald. If we mentioned the Sun Herald, we had to put $1 in the swear box. That was the rule. We called it the other paper. But I think that is based on sound marketing principles, and I think you're dead right.
Let's have a look
better off not mentioning him.
Let's have a quick look at Donald Trump addressing auto workers. While the debate was happening, here's Trump talking to voters.
What they're doing to the auto industry in Michigan and throughout the country is absolutely horrible and ridiculous. Hundreds of thousands of American jobs, your jobs, will be gone forever because crooked Joe Biden is selling out. But I don't think it's him. I don't think he actually knows what the hell he's doing. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. It's not his fault. Let's not blame him. But he's surrounded with radical left Marxists and crazy people.
And that's why he didn't need to be at the debate, Nick. He's doing very, very nicely. Just before you go, I want to show you one more clip and get your reaction to it. This is a question that was actually asked at the debate of the challengers. It was a bit insulting to them, and to DeSantis's credit, he pointed that out.
So, which one of you on stage tonight should be voted off the island? Please use your marker to write your choice on the notepad in front of you. 15 seconds, starting now. Of the people on the stage, who should be? I'm absolutely serious.
With all due respect, I mean, we're here, like, we're happy to debate, but I think that that's disrespectful to my fellow competitors.
Nobody wants to participate.
Let's do some questions. Let's talk about the future of the country.
Here's my question, Nick. Would they have asked that question, who should be voted off the island, if Donald Trump was part of that debate?
Look, I guess they wouldn't have got to that last question. I mean, he would have taken up so much airtime. I think it sounds like they were just running out of things to ask, doesn't it? I mean, it's like on this show, you know, it's like the question you just asked me. You were running out of things to ask me. Isn't that right?
I've got a lot more, but we've run out of time. Nick Cater, thank you very much.
Thanks, James.